Anybody have anybody out there that they knew, family members?
It's like 2.5 hours.
That's Boston or Maryland?
I don't think so. I don't know of anybody.
I knew people, but they were fine.
Down there for.
I didn't even hear about it
You're the
until
brother, I was thinking maybe you know.
until the afternoon.
I've seen it on Facebook.
Could've done so much.
Oh my
On the TV, on the show.
I was living in Boston when 9/11 happened. And my boyfriend was in the fleet center. You're not going. You're staying home. It's cooked and cooked and watched the news.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
I just don't know what is the
I think
matter
they
with
determined
people.
what it was
Oh, I
outside.
don't get it.
The planes came out of Logan.
So I'm talking this marathon, I mean, like,
Oh, I know. Well,
time,
it was
Time?
time.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll call the Personnel Committee meeting to order. I'd like to ask a moment of silence for the victims of the Boston bombing, please. Thank you very much. Such a senseless act. We got one resolution, and I know we were going to talk about the safety officer, but Richie's sick. He's not going to be here tonight unless he surprised me and showed up.
Got the flu.
And then we're going to have to go into an executive session at the end of the meeting to discuss pending litigation. First resolution. Oh, anybody have anything under items of interest for discussion? No? First resolution authorizing the Board of Supervisors to adopt a non-preferred layoff list procedure for non-bargaining full-time employees who are not in the competitive class personnel. It's sponsored by Brian Sweet, seconded by Tom Quackenbush. Discussion.
Discussion.
Mr. Rose.
I might as well start off that this is wrong in every which way that anyone could think about. It's for one individual and one individual only, and even if there were a preferred list for this individual, well, first of all, if the person came back to a different job, the job that person would have come back to was abolished in the budget. So there wouldn't even been a preferred list for that person. Totally went into a different type of position. So here we are, we're going to set new rules in place, new procedures in place for one individual in the county. It's a negotiated item. It's already in the contract for CSEA employees, and there's procedures in place, civil service rules in place that we have to follow for this particular type of job situation. And here now we're trying to do it for the non-bargaining unit, where if they want to negotiate this, of course they don't really negotiate a contract, we just push a contract onto them, but even so, if they were able to negotiate it, then it should be a negotiable item. And we shouldn't be doing this for one person in this county. If we're going to do that, then we need to take care of some other things. There's an individual that's in community services that needs to be taken care of. There's an individual in purchasing that needs to be taken care of. These are the jobs we should be taking care of. Let's do it all in one. Put it all in one. If we're going to take care of one person, let's take care of all the ones that we need to take care of. Put everything into one group. This is wrong, period. And if you think it doesn't cost money, it does. Whether it's vacation time, personal leave, sick time, it costs money. If the person's out, it costs money because they can buy back their vacation time at the end of the year. So it's an item that costs money.
Set time.
I'm all set for now. We'll see what everybody else has to say.
Further discussion. Butch?
Okay, I'm not going to get into the politics of this thing. The only thing I'm going to tell you is that when I was informed about this resolution, I said that I would go out and check policies and check and see what was going on in our community. And talking to some of the big employers within this county, this just doesn't happen outside. They have 90 days to a year when the individual is let go, not quit. If a person quits, they're done. If a person is laid off, okay, because of reductions and everything, their normal policies are 90 to maybe a year. This thing is very specific about 4 years. Where the hell 4 years came in is, well, like I said, I wouldn't get into the politics. But I can't go along with this resolution because of nobody else is doing it, and I'm not going to set a precedent. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Greco. Anyone else? Barb?
I agree with both Supervisor Jameza and Supervisor Rico. I think that the president not only insults the employees in Montgomery County, but the taxpayers. We're setting something up to reward one person. This benefits not a group of employees. While we're in negotiations with the unions, not only is this bad timing, but the precedent that we're setting borders on corruption. This is horrible. I am adamantly against it. And using the example that if 2 employees are hired and one is let go and out for 3.5 years, if they come back 3.5 years later, they would be at the same place that the person who was dedicated and served this county diligently the entire time. And that's not even right in any way, shape, or form. So there's a plethora of reasons why I don't support this. I think that the way that it came before the Board of Supervisors is wrong. I think that it's being for one employee is wrong. This employee was hired in June. It didn't come before the Board of Supervisors. In November, it came to the chairman of the board and the chair of the personnel at the time. It didn't come before the Board of Supervisors. So while I'm not on the committee, I hope it doesn't come before the full board. Thank you so much.
Butch, do you want the floor again?
You know, yes, thank you, Chair. One thing is when an individual is terminated or laid off from the county and then rehired after X amount of years, don't they go through a process of being rehired where they're explained what they're going to get, their benefits and things like this? So if the individual does come back and they're given the opportunity to discuss these things and they agree to take that position, then I don't see why they understand. Why are we changing policies or creating policies if we don't have to? Thank you, Chair.
Anyone else? Huh?
Yeah. If you go back to, if you actually read the resolution, you can go back and see that back in 2007, we had a shutdown of the Meadows. All the employees at the Meadows that weren't in these classes, and every employee in Montgomery County, if you ask Rich and you take the time to do due diligence and sit down with the personnel director like I did, you'll understand that every single employee of Montgomery County is classified, except these individuals that are either, as I listed in here, non-competitive, non-bargaining, unclassified, exempt, or pending jurisdictional classification. Everyone else is. And while some want to focus on one person because it happened to affect the person that brought it up, because that person was searching an answer, it can. But really it affects more than one person because there's many more people out there, and especially with a new form of government coming in. And again, we're talking about for the purposes of calculating vacation. This is not for longevity. This is not for all those other things that the rumor's been flying about. It's vacation only. And all this resolution is saying is anyone who's in there. I can list a slew of them. You want to say it's one, but jail administrator. Jail administrator, if the job is let go, he's worked for the county, he or she has worked for the county for a long time, they would fall into this category. Any confidential secretary that we have. These folks all fall under that category, and with a new form of government coming in, we very well could have employees who have taken a chance on this county because they've asked us, we've asked them to take these positions, and we've given them those positions, and they've taken a chance on us. We have taken a chance on them. They've given us how many years of their life. Let's say they happen to be taken out of their position after the new form of government comes in because they're not appointed. They may come back in a totally new position for Montgomery County and have worked for us for 20 years. All this resolution is saying, if that's the case, then allow them to pick up with their vacation where they left off. That's all this is saying. So we can try to pinpoint it to one individual because one individual did bring it to the attention of many without an answer.
No,
So,
that's not correct.
and it is correct.
No, it isn't.
And when we talk about corruption, borderline corruption, this isn't borderline corruption. Read the resolution thoroughly and what it says. Again, this is for people that are non-bargaining, non-competitive, unclassified, exempt, and pending jurisdictional classification. That's who this is for.
Is that Tom?
Yeah.
Vote on it again.
I got Butch, Barbara, and then you.
Well, if that's the case, I just have a, why don't we change the last further resolve, okay, to a full-time position within 1 year and give them all their benefits back after 1 year? I mean, why don't we do something like that? It's got a time frame. Why are we making it specific to 4 years? Why wasn't it 5 years?
That was at Rich's thought.
I don't care whose
Because
it is, I'm not blaming you.
Because it's been 4 years for every other class has been 4 years. The Meadows employees, all those people have been put on a preferred list for 4 years and are able to do that. Except those that quit. Those that quit and leave the county have 1 year. That's it. But they quit. They chose to leave. If they quit and choose to leave, we reward them when they come back. But if somebody's laid off through no fault of their own, we penalize them. It matched up to go with the 4 years. Because that's what all the other lists are. That's according to Rich. And again, Rich is going to come tonight and speak. Rich helped me create this resolution.
I think Butch.
But he's not in favor of it.
I think
So
Butch
don't
has
make
it for
it
it.
seem like he's in favor of it.
Never said he was in favor.
Okay.
I said he helped me create it to get.
That's all right.
I think Butch has the.
That's all right, let him go.
Are you set,
Everything is coming out. The thing is, okay, we're making it easier and easier and for this county. We had this problem before, okay, with the county. We can't eliminate positions, we can't terminate people, we're making it harder and harder. Now we're just increasing the safety factors or whatever when nobody on the outside world is doing this. And I think that's mostly my hang up, is the fact that nobody else out there is doing it. When you leave and you're gone for more than 90 days to a year, you lose your benefits. Then, if you come back, you are told, when I come back, you explain the position that they're getting, you explain their benefits, and I'm sure that the department heads do that, along with the personnel department. They understand that. So why would it come into effect now? I don't understand that, Mark. I'm sorry. And I won't go along with this unless it's knocked down to what everybody else is doing, 90 to a year.
Is that Butch?
Yes, thank you very much.
And then Tom.
And again, I agree, and we are the stewards of the taxpayers' money. So this vacation costs money for everyone. So by voting on this, we're voting to give one person more vacation. And talking about people that are represented by the unions, the Teamsters, whoever, that is something separate and above. That's not even something that is on the table right now. This is for one person. And this sets a deplorable precedent. And it's very clear, whereas classified employees, that's covered by the union. People know when they're hired and they have, I'm not done yet. What I'm saying is that when people are in a non-bargaining position, they know what that is and they agree to that when they're hired. Very clearly. And not only was this person in the position that was non-bargaining when they were laid off, but they were an administrative aide before that. And that was a non-bargaining. So this isn't the first trip at the circus, so I absolutely think that this is, and you were the one, I was in Richard's office when you were there pushing it, and it did say longevity and seniority first. So vacation is money from the taxpayers, and I will not support this. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, vacation is just a foot in the door. Okay, next year, some of these same people get elected, they'll want the works, they'll want longevity, they'll want back pay, and they'll want everything else for this individual. Okay, the thing is that this is set up for one specific individual, the non-bargaining, non-competitive, unclassified exempt. They know that they are out of the class to begin with. They're told that when you leave your classified status, you leave the union, you go into an unclassified status. You're non-union, non-competitive, okay? You have that job. You lost your rights. They know that. They know they lost their rights. And when they come back, they know they come back. In fact, they didn't go back to even the same position. If they went back to the same position, this may be considered. They went back to another totally irrelevant position in another department, or same department, but another status. So it's totally wrong. It's totally wrong. We're doing something to set precedents in this county that's going to affect this county for a long time to come, and it's only being done for one individual. Nobody else falls in this category because everybody else is covered by the laws and the statutes and the procedures that we have in place. Except for non-bargaining people, and they know that they're non-bargaining, and they know they're out there on their own. That's why they took the job, and that's why they're paid more money for what they do. So, I cannot support this in any way, shape, or form. Not any way, shape, or form.
Set time? Set?
Well, I do really want to address one other issue. And I, well, I'm gonna leave that alone for right now, but it's not corruption, but it is, I think somebody should abstain on this vote. Okay? There should be some abstentions here.
I can tell the gloves will be going on pretty quick.
Pretty soon the gloves will be going on.
Who's next?
That's
Because
fine.
we're going to be talking about corruption.
Who's next?
Let's talk about it.
I don't want to talk
Let's
about
talk
that.
about it, Stagliano.
Because you think that there hadn't been resolutions in the past for one person?
Absolutely not.
We'll bring them up.
Bring them up.
Let's do this one at a time.
Big mouth. That's all you are.
I just wanted to say there is a policy, and it's 1 year, and the civil service has a policy for 1 year, and if non-bargainings come back within that year, they don't lose anything. So there is a policy.
They quit.
That's-
Only if they quit. Not if they're laid off, only if they quit.
But this person was gone for more than a year anyways, so there is a policy. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you so much.
If there's no more discussion, I'll poll the committee. Is there more discussion?
No.
This is to move or not to move?
I'm going to move it.
Bob, Sullivan? Move it or not move it to the full board?
Not move it.
Brian?
Move it.
Michael?
Move it.
Mr. Greco?
No.
Quacky?
Move it.
Dominic?
Move it.
And I'm a no. But you got 4 yeses, 3 noes. If I'm reading my,
I think I'm on that committee.
No, you're
I
next.
think you were, but not even.
Oh, it says it on the internet here that, wait a second.
No, you've got the wrong agenda here.
No, that's the next finance.
So we'll go to the full board.
Oh, that's right, he's personnel now, isn't he?
Yes, personal. And we can have this whole conversation over again at the full board.
Absolutely.
That's all that's necessary on that. Sure. Does anybody want to talk about the safety officer? Pesh did come in, recommended. It's not just the sewer district, which we had originally thought, like, that's what I thought anyhow. It's the county. And we're waiting for the Pesh officer to respond to the county, which we have not got the response yet. But Rich said it could wait another month, but if you choose, if you want to get into it tonight, I'm okay, I got the resolution in front of us,
We're waiting for Patch to respond to us?
which is usually not a good thing.
I thought it was the other way around.
They're gonna tell you something,
Yeah.
and then you're gonna have to reply to it.
The only other thing I wanted to add, I spoke with Richard about this, and that total was for the whole year. So it would be dramatically less if that was the decision that the board made.
For those that don't know about it, it was a position for a safety officer for $10,400, risk management type of thing. So we will have this discussion again next month, I'm sure. Now I would ask that somebody make a motion to go into executive session to discuss pending litigation. Chairman Thayer, Brian Sweet, all in favor?
Yeah, I got a question.
Opposed?
Why is it going into executive session?
That's what I was asked to do. Unless you want it out in the open. It is out in the open already, isn't it?
What are we talking about?
The lawsuit, but I mean, it's how we
And
respond.
who are we trying to keep it from?
Nobody. I'll go by my attorney's recommendation.
Well,
I didn't request the executive session, but if you're going to discuss any type of defense strategy, it would be prudent to do it in that fashion.
Then I think that some people in this room should remove themselves from any discussion.
That's fine.
Would you be one of them?
I might be. I might very well be.
No, you can stay at this point.
Oh, is this Saber?
Well,
right
we
now?
got people that are associated with the plaintiff in dealings that I wouldn't sit here in executive session and discuss it. Well, he'll know it in 5 minutes.
Don't make accusations,
And you're the one.
Don't make accusations, Stagliano.
You're the one.
Because
Because
you're gonna be the next one being sued,
you,
okay?
and I'm not the one who signed documents.
Don't be the next one. I signed them legally too.
No, you didn't.
Prove it different.
We will.
Big mouth, that's all yours, a big mouth.
Yeah, well, you're the ones
We're going
making
to
headlines
executive
lately.
session. I think
Yeah,
it's prudent.
okay, big mouth.
Poor Shane Walters. Shane,
Can I second
you
it?
mocked Shane
Thank you.
when
All right,
Shane
big
was
mouth.
having a
All
problem.
right, big mouth.
Wait, the personnel committee's going into executive session.
That's correct.
So people on personnel committee don't vote and don't make motions to go on into executive session. It's gotta be on
We, at
personnel
the beginning of the year, we approved to not do that.
Is everybody in this room going to vote to take the personnel committee into an executive session, Doug? Or the personnel
No,
committee?
the vote is of the committee that,
So therefore,
Right.
the committee would make the motion to go in, not people that aren't on it.
I'll make the motion. Do I have a second?
For members of the committee to go in executive
That's
session?
correct.
I'm an ex-officio member, I will second it.
Yeah,
Chairman
but-
Thayer made the motion.
And I'm not gonna ask him, I'm not gonna ask to ban anybody. That's up to him. If he thinks that people should be excluded from this, as far as I'm concerned, the supervisor is entitled to sit in on it.
He's not gonna make that decision.
What do we need to go into executive session?
So we have a motion and a second.
Who made the motion?
I did. Mr. Sullivan, yes or no?
Yes.
Brian?
Sure.
Mr. Chiara?
No.
Mr. Greco?
No.
Tom?
No.
Tom?
No.
Oh boy. 1, 2, 3 no's, 3 yeses. Who's missing?
You.
I'm a yes, because of 4. We will be in executive session. I ask you to please leave. I'll check my map. Let me do it again.
No, I just thought that,
4 people voted no
No,
to go into
so how do we
executive
get into
session.
executive session?
actually, the vote really.
It's 4
4
voted
people
no.
voted no.
Yeah.
How do we get
Yeah,
into
how do we get
executive
into
session?
executive session? No.
Oh, maybe it's,
Four.
let me check them again.
I believe it's, I
Dominic,
believe
you're
it
no?
was 3 to 4.
Quacky's a no?
Walter's no, Mike was no, and.
Which is a no?
Correct.
I got
Michael's
4
a no.
no's.
Michael, yes or no?
No.
I
There's
believe,
four no's.
I believe the motion failed.
It did. Sean, you can invite those people back in again. I got some, my page is so messed up, I can't even read my own writing.
Oh,
We had a reprieve. Discount.
So, what is there to talk about?
So we've been served by Benetech's marketing, and we have to respond. And the issue is, who's gonna respond, how they're gonna respond? Are you gonna ask Doug to respond for the county?
This is kind of foolish, because you got insurance that's covering it. Let the
Insurance doesn't
company
cover
take
this.
care of it.
I'm thinking that we're talking to the chairman.
Insurance doesn't cover this.
Actually, they've been talking to Doug, and we're still waiting for the insurance company to get back to us as to whether we are covered, because there hasn't been a determination by the insurance company that we are covered. Portions of it may, but we don't have that determination yet, and unfortunately, our time is running out.
20 days we have, right?
That's correct.
22nd is when you
There
have
has been
to...
a request for an extension.
There has been, or we have?
There has been, but not from us.
Not from
Did you
the...
request an extension, Doug?
I have not done that at this, as of yet, although I think it would be prudent for that to happen. Let me just say, being that we're not in executive session, I'm going to be very sketchy, you might say, as to what I'll say here. And I have some issues with this myself. In fact, I suspected that...
For those reasons, for those personnel reasons, I'll make a motion to go in executive session for that purpose and that purpose only.
What the heck?
You have some issues that you want to discuss.
I don't necessarily want to discuss
Okay,
them.
but if you don't want to...
I will, but I'm not requesting this. I just want to say, at this point,
Is that a motion, Doug?
I'm not quite sure I follow what he's getting.
He wants to go back into executive session?
Well, I understand that.
No, you said you were going to be very sketchy for some, I thought you said personal reasons.
Not for personal reasons. I wouldn't want to say too much about how the county would approach any piece of pending litigation in open session. Continuing with what Chairman Thayer has just stated, I thought I would expand upon that slightly without going into a lot of detail, since the issue of the potential for insurance coverage has been brought up. After I received the summons and complaint on April 3rd, it was submitted to our insurance carrier, which responded and indicated it was going to have to dig and sift through to attempt to make a determination as to whether or not there is coverage for it. As of, and I renewed that question to the claims representative as recently as today, and was advised at 3 o'clock today, 3:02, I have the message with me, that the insurance company has not yet made its final determination in that regard, but that it expects to within the next 2 days. Which, of course, each day that ticks by brings us closer to the 20-day response time. I think, in my opinion, it would be prudent at this point, being that this last communication happened at 3 o'clock today, I did nothing until, because I knew we were going to be discussing it tonight, that a request for an extension be made, and I think I would be the most appropriate one to do it at this particular point in time, given that there are a lot of unanswered questions.
I think you mentioned some of the reasons to ask for the extension. Just go back until the insurance company.
Well, that's, yes, that's the primary one.
Would that get us off the immediate 20-day hook?
Assuming that the extension was granted, it would. I would expect that an extension would be granted. I can't represent that because I haven't requested it, but typically in this type of thing, it would be expected. The length of it, that can be discussed.
Mike?
No, Rico's.
Butch?
Sure. Yeah.
Then wouldn't it be appropriate if we just have the Chairman Thayer and Doug apply for the extension and then have an executive session at the full board when everybody is here instead of just this committee? You know, I mean, I'd rather see everybody involved.
Well, the timing is of the essence, so I think the
Well, I'm saying,
most important thing
let
is
me
to
see
get that
if they can
response.
get an extension. If they can get an extension, then call a special meeting.
Can I respond to that? I don't know if you're suggesting it'd be necessary, but given that we've been served, it's not necessary for my purposes to have a formal authorization of a committee or a board or any other entity here to request the extension. It's something that's necessary, and I would do it unless I was specifically told not to, which would not be reasonable.
Your defense, Butch, may be a reason to have that meeting. How you're going to do that? I've got Michael and Tom.
It's a simple question. I read the document. It says March 29th, Mr. Landon. What would be the last day, 20th day, based on March 29th filing?
You don't go by filing date, you go by date of service.
But everybody was served differently.
Well, you would go by the earliest, I'm not concerned about, I shouldn't say I'm not concerned about. The focus here, as far as the response, should not be when any of the other defendants were served. It would be measured from when the county was
I
served.
believe they were served the 2nd of April.
All right, I was served on the 3rd.
They were served the 2nd.
Who?
I think Cheryl was it?
Well, Cheryl is not an authorized person to be served. They may have given her a copy of it, but I don't consider that service.
County clerk, right?
I don't believe the county clerk was served at all.
Oh.
Then who should have been served? I don't know how this works.
I was served on the 3rd,
Okay, so assume it's the 3rd. What day are we looking at?
a week from today.
Week from today.
He's got time.
That would be 20 days. That would be 20 days.
What if you're not granted an extension? Who has to grant you the extension? That's what's the
The
question.
plaintiff's attorney,
Mr. Coca.
yes. When you say has to, that's where it
Well,
comes
where it
from.
comes
Yes, he
from.
doesn't have to, but.
Well, I'm just saying.
Well, it's a reasonable request.
Right.
It's not.
Mike, you all set?
Yeah, it's
I think it's Butch and Tom.
No, I'm done.
So, Tommy.
Just so everybody knows, the Montgomery County Trust, which I know will represent itself, was also served in the sense that I was served as the president. I believe Michael, Dominic,
David.
Dave Divers, I don't think Joe Isabel
To my
was
knowledge,
served.
no.
The point I'm making and why it's relevant here is there was a resolution passed in April of 2012, I believe, that I don't know how to say this, Doug.
I know what you.
This board authorized those that are appointed from this board to that trust as its officers to be covered by the county.
Yes, it did.
And I was served. I was
Yes.
running on a treadmill. I was served. So we had an obligation to serve, and I'm only going to speak for myself, even though I know the rest had it too. We had an obligation to serve back to the chairman notice that we had been served, so that we were asking the county to
Represent.
defend us and represent us through that resolution. So we did that. So
Yes.
we are being